Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour, and today is Thursday, February 11th, 2020. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're live or in the archives, whether you're listening live or listening through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered in my over 46 years of experience in doing therapy. These tools are gratefully available absolutely free at whyagain.org. If you go to that website and click on the red and white bullseye, it will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. The book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of that book contains a narrative description of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet. It's a tool I've been using for over 16 years to navigate my emotional life and turn my negative emotional states into productive guidance, constructive feedback about how my errant interpretation of life is resulting in a distorted perception, and I can then correct that distorted perception, restore myself to something closer to accurate perception, restore myself to a sense of calm, peaceful, loving energy, and from that space, whatever choices I make, I have found over and over again in my life, they become far more productive. I am far more happy with the results I get when I make a choice based on calm, centered, loving, peaceful, energetic responses or energetic states inside of me. That tool itself is available. You can just click on the link, download the PDF, print it off with you, and use it as often as you'd like. You can also download a whole host of audio files of shows like this one where people have been stepped through that process. And those audio files, if you listen to them multiple times, can serve as a powerful tutorial, a very effective tutorial for you, and help you turn this tool into the life-changing potential of this tool into an actuality in your life through regular application of that process. You can also go to your App Store and type in the 3 words HeartLand Aramaic Forgiveness. And before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll see the glowing heart icon. When you tap on that, it will let you have access to a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet process, an abbreviated version of that process, and a copy of the Drag-On Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. And if you do that and you have any comments or questions, whether they're testimonials about how useful the tool has been or questions about what you might be able to do to make the tool even more useful, give us a call. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. That's 563-999-3581. And if you call that number and press 1, it'll put a little question mark by your phone number, and I'll announce you by your area code. And we appreciate when people do that. It helps us live into our intention with this work to be of service. Today happens to be the 42nd day of the year, according to my reckoning, and we have decided to do the Course in Miracles lessons. And as this is a Thursday, I only need to do one today. Today's lesson, lesson 42. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. So the Creator is my strength. Light, love, spirit, the energy of creation gives me my strength. And true vision, accurate vision, ability to see things as they actually are, is the gift of the creation. The commentary for today's lesson reads as follows. The idea for today combines 2 very powerful thoughts. Both are of major importance. It also sets forth a cause and effect relationship that explains why you cannot fail in your efforts to achieve the goal of this course. You will see, because it is the will of the Creator, it is the will of God, it is the will of the flow of creation that you see things accurately. It is His strength, her strength, its strength. It is the strength of creation that flows through you. It's not your own strength that gives you power. And it is the Creator's gift rather than your own that offers true vision to you. God, or the Creator, is indeed your strength, and what it gives you is truly given. This means that you can receive it anytime and anywhere, wherever you are, in whatever circumstance you find yourself. Your passage through time and space is not random. You cannot be but in the right place at the right time. Such is the strength of creation. Such are the gifts of the Creator. We will have 2 3 to 5 minute practice periods today. One as soon as possible after you awake, and the other as close as possible to the time you go to sleep. It is better, however, to wait until you can sit quietly by yourself at a time when you feel ready than it is to be concerned with the time, the actual time of day. Begin these practice periods by repeating the idea for today slowly. First with your eyes open and looking about you. Often in these lessons they let us know, do it in a relaxed state. Do it with ease. If you notice tension or resistance, shorten the practice period. So begin by looking about you with your eyes open, then close your eyes and repeat the idea again. The idea is, God, or the Creator, is my strength. Vision is His gift. Then close your eyes and repeat the idea again, even slower than before. After this, try to think of nothing except thoughts that occur to you in relation to this idea, the idea for today. For instance, you might think, vision must be possible. God gives truly. Or you might think, God's gifts to me must be mine because He gave them to me. Or you might think, the Creator is my strength. Vision is her gift. I can know this because I exist, because I know I didn't create myself, because I know my heart keeps beating, my lungs keep breathing, even when my conscious logical mind that I think is me isn't focused on that. Any thought that is clearly related to the idea for today is suitable. You may in fact be astonished at the amount of course-related understanding some of your thoughts contain. After all, you've been at this course for 40 days already, 41. Let those thoughts come without censoring, unless you find your mind is merely wandering and you have let obviously irrelevant thoughts inside. You may also reach a point where no thoughts at all seem to come to mind. If such interferences occur, open your eyes and gently repeat the thought once more while looking slowly about. Repeat the idea once more and continue to look for related thoughts in your mind. Remember, however, that active searching for relevant thoughts is not appropriate for today's exercises. Try merely to step back and let the thoughts come. If you find this difficult, it's better to spend the practice period alternating between slow repetitions of the idea with eyes open and then with eyes closed than it is to strain to find suitable thoughts. The Creator is my strength. Vision is her gift. There is no limit on the number of short practice periods that would be beneficial today. If you could keep this as every second thought in your mind, it would benefit you. The idea for today is a beginning step in bringing thoughts together and teaching you that you are studying a unified thought system in which nothing is lacking. Nothing that is needed is lacking, and nothing is included that is contradictory or irrelevant. The more often you repeat the idea during the day, the more often you will be reminding yourself that the goal of the course is important to you and that you have not forgotten it. So Pam Grout has a book titled The Course in Miracles Experiment, and we are working through that with the Course in Miracles lessons. And her 42nd chapter is titled, It's All a Gift. She quotes Nate Staniforth, who said, "My favorite moments shoot certainty full of holes. They barge in unaccounted and track mud all over the carpets, grab me by the shirt, drag me out into the street, and say, in effect, 'Wake up, you fool, and open your eyes. There is more.'" Pam writes, Lesson 42 is an RSO, parentheses, rip that sucker out, close parentheses, that I have chosen to replace with these 4 lines from today's lessons. So instead of repeating, God is my strength, vision is his gift, Pam Grout has decided to take the advice of some of the authors of this book and just get rid of it if it doesn't resonate well with her. And in its place, she's substituting these lines. My passage through time and space is not random. I cannot fail in my efforts to achieve the goal of the course. It's a gift, and I don't have to do anything. I can receive this gift anytime, anywhere, in any circumstance. When I asked those are the 4 lines. When I asked to see these things differently, as the Course suggests, I turn the light on all thoughts that cause me pain, and like cockroaches, those thoughts begin to scatter. Nothing, not my anger, guilt, frustration, even death, makes me less worthy of the gift. My thoughts, parentheses, what the Course calls the ego, close parens, my thoughts try to tell me I'm not worthy, that it's okay not to feel certain things. But today I vow to separate myself from my thoughts just a little. The trick is to simply observe them, not adopt them as my identity. As I learn to be gentle with myself, way to go, Pam. I love that phrase. I use it often for myself. As I learn to be gentle with myself, parentheses, often the hardest thing to do, close parens, I find there's no need to find my happier self or to cut the anger from my psyche. The truth about myself can't be changed by my judgments, my opinions, my belief that something is not okay. For today, as often as I can, I will breathe and know that whatever train of thoughts plow through my head is all okay. And I'll repeat these 4 lines rather than the lesson for today. The 4 lines are, my passage through time and space is not at random. I cannot fail in my efforts to achieve the goal of the Course. The Course and its vision is a gift, and I don't have to do anything. I can receive this gift anytime, anywhere, in any circumstance. So that's our presentation of the course and our first attempts to understand it or make it relevant. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, it'll put a question mark by your phone and we can start a conversation. How can we support you today? What's your response to the lesson for the day, or what's your question about anything we've talked about, or something you might have heard in the archives over the past 10 years? Just let that sink in, if you will. It's been 10 full years that we've been doing this internet show. It was 5 days a week, 1 hour a day for the first 8 years, and it's been 2 hours a day for the last 2 years. So there's all kinds of things we might talk about. How can we support you today? I had somebody in a session earlier today who was really struggling, and struggling because the situation she's in is so abusive, both in a home situation and a work situation. And these tools, they have the potential to rescue her from that. Welcome, Susan. How can we support you today?
Hi. Well, I want to say something about yesterday's rerun. I remember the remark that inspired that whole show, and it was very good to hear it again. Or I'm not sure I even had heard, I think it was Terry. I don't remember whether I'd heard it, at least I heard it freshly again yesterday. But I want to argue with you on something.
Oh, please go ahead.
I'm going to. And that is that I think there's a missing something in there. You said if we feel about everyone who we come in contact with, we feel that same delight that we feel when we feel the kind of special relationship feeling that leads to wars when it's turned on its head and is negative. I think there's a middle ground in there. I really think intense, fond, appreciative feelings probably can't be generated all the time, nor even be expected or focused on. But when they come, they're a huge gift if they're not an addiction. And I know all about the addiction side of that. And I probably should say that I am an addict, but I've been in sobriety for, forget how many years, a long time. But what I've discovered is I didn't have to give up what was good, those, I don't even want to call them feelings, or maybe they are, those regards, those, that stance. I turned it into telling myself, you're looking at the face of Christ, you're looking at the face of God, and you're able to see it in this person, and this is a great gift. Go past the face, though. Do not stand there and stare at the face and fix on the face and say, I need this person, I want this person to do something for me and be nice to me. Go way past that. Immediately go past it. But you don't lose anything in doing that. You just gain a kind of wholeness. And I thought that whole part of it was like we have this huge assignment to not have what they call crushes. Well, I have them all the time, but they don't do to me what they used to do. I feel as if I have a kind of knowing now about what to do with them. I go into a kind of mental, it's a kind of meditation, and I might have to do it several times to get a handle on it. That's the addiction part. But once the handle's on it, it's just a wonderful, life-giving, vitality-giving thing. So that's my rebuttal. And maybe I didn't understand what you said, and that's why I'm saying these things, but you can certainly argue with me.
Well, how are we ever going to sort that out?
I don't
How
know.
are we ever going to figure out if you understood what I said?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did you understand what I said or not? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, based on the words I just heard you say, there's nothing I want to argue about.
Oh, good.
I mean, I would just say, okay, that's fine. That's wonderful. That's great. I think, the problem with all of this stuff is that what we're doing is using words to describe things that go way beyond words.
Right.
Like, oh, look at that sparrow. Well, what does that mean? Right? That's a bunch of letters that are written down on a page. If you look it up in a bird book, it shows you some pictures. But does that tell you what that magnificent creature is? No. It doesn't even come close to the experience. Right. So, what's being talked about in this work and in the Course in Miracles, when they talk about a special relationship, is an unhealthy attachment to the presence, the words or actions of a person, held with the conclusion that I either need that to continue for me to be happy, or I need that to stop for me to be happy. So that my emotional state is dependent upon the presence or absence of this person or a particular behavior from that person. And that, I think we can all agree, is unhealthy.
Right.
Now, the other theoretical point that you were trying to make is whether or not it's even possible or desirable to have the same kind of ebullient, effervescent, titillating response to every human being we encounter.
Right.
And I will say with you that, in full knowledge that I, Tim Hayes, the psychologist, the father, the man, the whatever, the student, I cannot achieve that. That will never happen within the constellation of my thought process that I use to think about who I am. And yet, all of these great teachings tell us that when I see things accurately, complete true vision, as the Course would use it, or what Michael Ryce calls the spiritual faculty of true perception, that will be the natural response. Whether I'm looking at a blade of grass, a magnificent stallion running through the field, the sun, the mountains, the person next to me on the subway who's, urinated all over herself, my response will be the same to any of them when there's no ego involvement. That's what the teachings are driving us towards. But from the ego perspective, get me away from this person with the urine stains and the horrible smell and let me engage all of my judgments about how horrible that is and what is wrong with this person and why don't they respect themselves more. From the ego perspective, that will always be there. From the true perception, the spiritual faculty of true perception, there will be just what they refer to in the way of mastery as the shimmering radiance that underlies everything. And when I have a direct experience of that shimmering radiance, in other words, if I am able to view the world the way the Creator might view the world, then everything is changed. So from the ego perspective, I will never achieve that, and it's not something that I should strive for, because the striving part of my mind is the ego, and it cannot create what it is in the process of blocking from my awareness. There's no need to create it. It's already there. Your true essence is the miracle of life expressing in form.
That answer was really good. Yeah. I like that. Thanks. That's good.
All right. So someone has written in the chat room a question. Is the author saying to tear out lesson 42 and replace it with her 4 lines? I'm just going to address this rather than type it in the chat room because I can't really type well and write at the same time. Bill Thetford has been quoted as saying, if there's something in the Course in Miracles that doesn't resonate for you, just rip that sucker out. And don't throw away the Course in Miracles. Just take that line or take that lesson out. It's fine. If it clashes with your sensibilities, just keep going. Just do the work as best you can. So that's the reference to rip that sucker out or rip it out. And the 4 lines that she's using instead of it come directly from the commentary in this lesson. So she's not making up things to put in place of that lesson. If she came to a lesson that didn't resonate with her at all, she would just let the lesson go by. But in this lesson, the format of the lesson, God is my strength, vision is his gift, she talks about it in the beginning of her book, that because the word God is so emotionally loaded for people, she chooses to use things like the dude and other euphemisms for God rather than to say God. And so because this lesson is very short and it has both the word God and the word his in it, which implies, masculine and not feminine, it implies some kind of an anthropomorphic view of the Creator, she just throws that phrase out and uses other phrases from the lesson commentary that resonate strongly with her, that really, to her, speak of the truth of what we're being asked to pay attention to. Again, those 4 lines, and they come right out of the commentary, are, my passage through time and space is not at random. The next one is, I cannot fail in my efforts to achieve the goal of the Course. The next one is, it's a gift and I don't have to do anything. The next one is, I can receive this gift anytime, anywhere, in any circumstance. So what she is saying is, because the format of the lesson, God is my strength and vision is his gift, just doesn't resonate well with her, she's choosing the essence of the lesson from the commentary and choosing to repeat that instead. So I hope that clears things up. And Susan, what else is on your mind? Or
well, a couple of things. The first one may be the easiest to do. I'm about to introduce the worksheet to a 27-year-old man who I've known since he was a child. He's the son of a friend. He's in not very good psychological shape. He told me that he's been diagnosed with mild Asperger's syndrome and ADHD. And I've wondered about both of those things just from knowing him. The Asperger's manifests in an inability to regulate his responses to other people, so that he might be harsh. He's a very sweet person, but he has just gotten very angry with his mother, who's one of my best friends, chewed her out, left. He lives not at home. He's going to Yale Divinity School, actually, and he's got his skis on the ground as far as that goes, which is wonderful because he's been at loose ends, failing to launch, doesn't know how to drive, for instance, has been living at home, having little jobs here and there. I'm about to take him through on the phone tomorrow at 10, his first worksheet, and I wondered if you had any advice on working with someone. I have prepped him. I've told him about it a little bit, and he said he'd love to try it, so he's willing. But I wondered if you had anything to say that might help me get going.
To introduce the worksheet process to him?
Yeah.
Is that okay? And are you going to be using the 7-step worksheet?
Yes.
Okay. One of our
Unless
group
you
members.
think that's not a good idea.
No, it's fine. One of our group members gave a suggestion to somebody else who was fairly new to the work and said, "Here, take this 7-step worksheet process and take the right-hand column where there's a line that has several releases in it and fold it backwards underneath.
Yeah.
And then take the bottom part, which is nothing but a glossary, and fold that back underneath. And so you're left with a much cleaner looking process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's less intimidating. It helps people focus on just the steps. And, you know, basically the core of that tool is in the first 5 steps.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of power that one can derive if we just go through the first 5 steps. And as many people have said in our support group, they've greatly benefited from the use of that release pattern that I have talked about and made available, so that it turns every worksheet process into a brief meditation rather than just this intellectual repetition of words.
Right. Well, I was planning to use your pattern stuff, but folding the page over in those 2 ways is a great idea. That's good. So,
well, it's another way to get it. You know what my intention with the 5-step mental short version was to do that same thing, to have the simplicity, make it be less intimidating to introduce them to the process. But several people who work in the group have said, you know, when they're trying to introduce this process to somebody, there's some things missing in that 5-step that are very useful. So if you take that 7-step worksheet and fold the side in and the bottom up, the glossary up, it makes it less intimidating, and people have found that it's far easier to start working through it.
That's great. My friend just drove through with her daughter and stayed overnight last night. And I told her I was going to do a worksheet with her boy, and she was really glad, and she said, I'd really like to try one too. And what impressed me with her is she is a very devout Episcopal worshiper, a Christian. And sometimes we bump up against things. For instance, we've had arguments about homosexuality for years, and she's loosening up. And she did the worksheet, and I discovered that she had been doing her own version of it by prayer, sort of instinctively and organically, and coming up with good enlightened goals without using the worksheet. And she said the worksheet is a bit left brain for me. It's very organized, but my son absolutely grooves on that sort of thing, and the worksheet will help him focus, I imagine. She said, I don't know if I'm going to use it regularly, but when I get into trouble, I'm going to call you and I'm going to have you do this again. So it was a very interesting, unusual affirmation, but she's a very special person. So just to say, people are finding their way, at least she was finding her way without the help of the worksheet.
Yeah, some people love Ho'oponopono. Some people love the Sedona release method. Some people groove on Byron Katie's work. Some people read poetry by David White or Rilke and start learning to live in the question. Some people read Krishnamurti or Eckhart Tolle and start to change their internal process dramatically. So, we're happy for any movement toward 100% responsibility for the emotions we're creating and the choice of a healthier, happier, more inclusive life.
Mm.
Whatever tools, whatever ingredients help me get there.
So, do you have another hand up?
No.
Okay, so this is the big one, and I've even been a little nervous about bringing this up. I've worked on how I feel about my son, done many worksheets on my son, letting him go through what he needs to go through without my worrying and being attached to worrying. I did 3 worksheets this morning, and I just thought I need some help. Michael said a great thing in our session last night. We had our intensive get-together on Wednesday night, and he said, with the big issues, you just keep doing the same worksheet. It morphs a little bit each time, or it doesn't, but you keep doing it, and things do shift. But sometimes it seems as if they're not moving, and that's the sense I've had about this. So I have 3 worksheets in front of me, and the emotion is sadness and fear, and I know different worksheets for those, but the overwhelming one is sadness, and the thought is, how much of this can he take? When will it end? Will it end? I can't help him. He is going to suffer his whole life. He may die young. All these bad, cancel those thoughts. My desire, my goal is to have him heal from anxiety and depression and be joyful and at peace. I give up the goal. I invite God to incline me toward healing, restore me to my newborn essence, love, which means restoring me to a time before he was born. You see, I'm still in the orbit of him and his pain. So I go back to before he was born, and that doesn't feel like a very good solution because it's like pretending he doesn't exist. But I go back there.
But that's not what that's about.
Okay.
So let's clear that up. That's not what that's about. This is a very ego-based, figure-it-out interpretation of the worksheet. But that line in the worksheet, remember the worksheet, bless its little pointy-headed heart, right? The worksheet is all on one page because they're trying to put everything they understand on one page because they were traveling and they would have to have reams and reams of paper and
right.
So that lesson, that statement would be, I'm going to try and pull it up here so I can.
I understand not being a newborn myself, but to go back to the essence of myself as I was as that new baby, full of curiosity, freedom, delight,
it's
openness.
not that you go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So where were you reading again? Give me the line. Is it from 1A?
5B. I invite God.
All right, so you're down to 5B. All right, so this idea is, no, you said something about a newborn self.
Go a little
so
further.
The newborn essence of love. So this would be more accurately written to say, incline me toward healing, restore me to the active awareness of my true essence. not that I go back in time. This is not about thinking of a loving time in my life. This is just witnessing the miracle of life expressing in, through, as, and around me in this moment. The miracle of my heart beating, the blood coursing through me, the air respirating through me, the cells, the trillions of cells working in concert. It's a miracle. And I just want to slow down and just tap into that miracle. I don't go to a past period before my son was born when I felt this or that. I just want to just wake up to the miracle of life in this moment and take a breath and ask to be restored to it and then go on. That whole thing about trying to think of a time before your son was born when you were happy, that's another thing we do. That's in step 4, where in the support group we take more time and turn that into a little meditation, and we ask people to focus on the most loving time and the most loving thoughts in their life so you can actually get that loving feeling rolling in your heart space. But this is not that. At this level, in step 5, just do a quick breath, and a quick request, and it's more accurate, in my humble opinion, to say, restore me to the awareness of my essence as love. And then help me heal my denial. What's the denial? The denial is any belief that someone or something outside of me is causing this upset. Or the denial is that anything in my life has to change in order for me to be happy.
I got that. I do. So basically I work out these enlightened goals, and they're all very nice, but my numbers are pretty high. Upset level 9 to start, upset level 8 at the end, which is just a concession because I really haven't gotten a handle on it, even though in my mind I understand the value of letting my son live his life, face what he faces, not interfere in any way, hold an active space of love for him, listen if he wants to talk, but do not call him up and say, how are you doing? That sort of thing. I think those are good goals. They don't take care of where I'm at, though, so I'm way off somewhere in here.
Well, you might have heard me talk in the past about a 2-prong approach in this work.
Okay.
So the one approach is what I do when I do a worksheet, because I pick up a worksheet for the most part in the early going. I pick up a worksheet when I have a negative emotional state resonating in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to figure out let's see. I got a little distracted by something somebody wrote in the chat room. So the 2-prong approach is, if I have a negative emotional state, I want to pick up a worksheet and dismantle the internal process in me that's generating that emotional state, right? I want to get to the point where I stop creating the negative emotional state that my mind then, my ego mind, wants to blame on the outside circumstances and the people.
Right.
So that's one prong. The other prong approach is that I want to focus on my newborn essence as love. I want to bring back my awareness of myself as an expression of the miracle of creation in form. So one of the favorite ways to do that is I direct people to either, something like Ho'oponopono, or I direct them to the Gentle Art of Blessing by Pierre Pradervand, and that's a book title, The Gentle Art of Blessing, and we had the pleasure of interviewing him a couple of years ago, and that interview is available. If you don't want to go buy the book, you can listen to the author talk about it in an hour interview on the Mind Shifters radio show, and it's available through the mindshiftersacademy.org audio library page. Or his newer book, which 365 Blessings to Heal Myself and the World. So I would encourage you to be doing both of these. So for every time that you pick up a worksheet, spend some time, write out a blessing according to the Pierre Pradervan style of writing out the blessing, and then sit with reading the blessing that you wrote for him and getting into the heart-centered energy of that blessing as much as you can, and send that to him for 2 or 3 minutes every time you do a worksheet. So you're doing both. You're focusing on that positive creative energy and amplifying it at an emotional level, and you're becoming aware of and dismantling the negative internal thought process, the figure it out egoic mind process that keeps generating these negative emotions and trying to convince you that it's about your son and his life, when the heart of these spiritual truths is it's not about him at all. It never was. And the egoic mind will, makes a pit bull holding onto a bone look like a gnat. You know how hard it is for you to take something away from a gnat? Your egoic mind is going to hold on to this idea that it's really about your son and it's really about his pain, and it will do that with such intensity that it makes a pit bull look like a wimp.
Yeah, that's just what it's doing.
And so the essence of this work is to have that two-prong approach so that I figure out what the denial is, the specific denial. Right? We just said in step 5, it asks me, I'm asking in each worksheet to be helped by some source outside my conscious logical mind to do a variety of things, including healing my denial, canceling that part of my mind that wants to blame something outside of me for the upset it's feeling. That's what it means to heal my denial.
Yeah.
So then I've got that, dismantle the negativity, which is part of the canceling of the goal and the whole true Aramaic forgiveness process. And then the other prong of that very powerful two-prong approach is find a way to focus on, bring my awareness to, and strengthen my awareness of that healing, loving energy, which is my birthright, which is my essence, and get to the point where I feel it vibrating through my system and strengthen it like you do in the love exchange process.
Mm-hmm.
Is this making sense?
Yeah, it's making sense. It's going to take some work, and I will do it. Yeah. I really don't know where it comes from. Maybe you don't have to know.
No, you can't know with your conscious logical mind. That's the whole point of doing the worksheets. When you're doing the worksheets and you do that meditation, we talked about that release pattern, that forgiveness, meditation that I put in.
You're right.
That's all about
really
stopping trying to figure it out.
That's
all about trusting whatever comes to my mind, no matter how disjointed or bizarre it might seem, every time I do a worksheet. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's one thing I can do is get out that sheet. I use it with my clients, but I haven't been using it myself particularly. It should accompany the worksheet every time.
But that makes really good sense, because that will prevent you from making any progress on this.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
It makes really good sense that you are not using that forgiveness pattern with yourself, that you're just you're telling other people to use it and you're not using it yourself. That makes really good sense
Yep.
because refusing to use it will mean you will not make progress on this. It means you will hold on to your belief that this really is about your son and you really need to do something in order for his life to be better. And your life can't be good unless his life is better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep, exactly. It's true. That's true. That's what my mind is saying.
Exactly.
You know.
And you might want to sit and let the part of your mind write and journal the part of your mind that would agree with the statement I'm about to make. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
A woman who is unable to help her son live a healthy, happy life does not deserve to be happy. She deserves to be punished.
I'm writing it down.
Any woman who can't help her son live a healthy, happy life deserves to be punished, does not deserve to live a healthy, happy life.
That's a mind shifter, isn't it?
To turn it into a mind shifter, well, I was recommending that you just journal from that, from the part of your mind that would agree with that, and write it out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that minimum requirement for a mother to be worthy of being happy is that her children be happy. It's a minimum requirement, and on and on and on. And if you wanted to turn it into a mind shifter, the mind shifter might be, it's safe and healing for me to live a peaceful, happy life even when my children are suffering.
Yeah, I've been working on it's an ongoing mind shifter on just pretty much those very words. Something hasn't cracked open. I just have pages and pages and pages of arguments. So this is good to look at it from this other angle, to let this be journaled about as it is, sort of the raw thing, the raw belief. Thanks.
Well, and right now we're just talking about what would be one of the things that's blocking you from actually doing the most useful things in the most useful parts of the worksheet process itself. And you understand when that forgiveness pattern, turning that step 5 into a little
meditation,
a little loving meditation towards self. You know that's useful. How do you know? Well, you've done it a few times yourself, and you try to teach it to other people. Okay, how's that working for you? Oh, I'm not doing it for me. So,
well, when you put it that way.
But listen, I'm not telling you to just keep ramming your head against the brick wall and start doing that meditation. I'm suggesting you explore what is the part of you that does not want to change. You don't want to get happy and peaceful and loving when your son is still tortured.
Yeah,
you don't want the worksheets to work for you.
Yeah, the do not deserve part is right on. Can't, won't, can't, don't deserve, dangerous. It's dangerous. Dangerous to my son. Yeah, this is good. I'm practically choking on all these words. I was asking you about the pain body the other day, and this is a pain body, according to Eckhart Tolle, and I've had this thought that I have to do some drastic, ugly, loud, wailing thing in order to get past it, but maybe I don't. I don't know the answer to that, but maybe it's not required.
Well, I would be happy to support you in doing the journaling we talked about, doing the mind shifter, and or alternating the worksheets with the gentle art of blessing, specifically written out and formulated for your son. And the gentle art of blessing just has me tap into the most heart-centered, positive emotional description, seeing whoever is my target in their wholeness, in their purity, in their full potential, and write it out as a blessing. So if I'm dealing with somebody who's stressed, I see them in their calm, peaceful, relaxed, strong, balanced mental, physical, and emotional state. I see them being loving, patient, gentle with themselves, respectful to themselves and others, thriving, living into their full potential, making the most of their life lessons and moving forward with ease. And I get that image in my mind's eye, and I load it with as much heart-centered, peaceful, loving energy as I can, and I send them that image. I hold that image in my mind and visualize sending it to them.
I will do that, Dr. Tim.
And alternate that with the actual Reality Management Worksheet process. And eventually, if you do the journaling, you might discover what you need to dismantle that would let you do the worksheet process and include the forgiveness pattern meditation.
Right.
So, good luck with clearing up the throat. Thank you so much for your call and questions, and feel free to keep me posted. You know how to reach me, and I'd be happy to support you any way I can. And I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of the stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Welcome, Jeanie Ryce.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. It was funny, I came in just as you were giving the, that any mother that couldn't make her children healthy and happy deserved to be punished, and I was like, what? But I kept listening. I got it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of lovely stuff you can take out of context in this show and create a mess.
I know.
Yeah. Well, have a great
you
show.
Have a good one. All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye. So welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mind Shifters Radio. Today